Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome. We are thrilled that you chose to spend some time with us this afternoon. Just a quick introduction. My name is Arthur Jofrion, and I work in the Office of Teaching and Learning, and I serve as the Deputy Assistant Superintendent for Educator, Talent, and Workforce Development. Our division covers everything from the pre-educator pathway for high school students all the way through the Novice Principal Academy, which will release for the first time in the fall, and everything in between, including background credentials, certification, educator preparation, and accountability. This afternoon, we are going to get an update on Louisiana's academic progress from our state superintendent, Dr. Cade Brumley, and go through several valuable pieces of information, especially for those of you who are working to staff your schools for next school year. We'll also share several amazing opportunities that are hosted by our division that you will certainly want information about and encourage individuals from your school system to participate. So at this time, I am happy to turn it over to State Superintendent Dr. Cade Brumley.
Thank you, Dr. Jofrion, for the introduction. Briefly, I just want to take a moment and share out with the group Louisiana's work on the national level from the nation's report card. Louisiana has never been ranked higher educationally than we are today. And I've consistently shared that's a testament to teachers across the state of Louisiana doing really good work alongside school leaders, system leaders, board members, parents, to really drive change in the state of Louisiana. So what you see here is Louisiana's national ranking since 2013 in fourth and eighth grade across reading and math. You'll see, particularly since the COVID era, that we have been really on a line upward. It's a positive trend, and we're really thankful for that work, knowing that so much good is happening in Louisiana schools, but at the same time recognizing that we still have more work to do. So let's go ahead and advance the slide. This particular slide is really impressive. This shows fourth grade reading national ranking since 2013. I would call out that over the last 4 years or two consecutive cycles of the nation's report card, Louisiana has been number one in the country for reading growth. We've led the entire country. Our reading strategy is the right strategy. We have to make sure we hold the line on that strategy and make sure that students are continuing to learn how to read using our science of reading, phonics-based approach, which uses rich curriculum to enhance the learning environment. Next slide. Likewise, you'll see that we're making growth in fourth grade math. Not as drastic as the reading growth, but keep in mind our focus overwhelmingly has been on reading first. And now we're at a position over the last year where we've really been able to lean into math as well. And so now we're starting to see some of those math increases. And I think over time, we'll see more of those. You can tell here that Louisiana is in the top 5 in the entire country for fourth grade math growth. So that's really exciting. Next slide. Looking at eighth grade reading, again, you see a trend going in the right direction, an upward trajectory. You see our reading ranking as it was number 16 in the country for overall performance in fourth grade reading. We're 29th in the country for eighth grade reading. So we continue to make strides in reading. And this, again, is pretty exciting information to be able to share with you. Let's look at eighth grade math. Eighth grade math has not seen the drastic improvements that we've seen in other grades and content areas. And that is not simply in Louisiana. It's across the entire country. We will be, I believe, the state that actually flips this trajectory in the right direction. Louisiana is one of only 14 states to post gains in eighth grade math. So we are growing. You can just tell that trend line isn't moving upward as quickly as we would like it, but certainly we are seeing progress, but no, we have more work to do. This chart shows students with disabilities in Louisiana. Louisiana is shown in blue, and the rest of the country is there in purple. So you can see for students with disabilities, both in fourth grade and eighth grade, and in reading and math, students with disabilities in Louisiana are very much outperforming like students across the entire country. So a shout out in the same way we're shouting out reading and math and those teachers and leaders, we need to shout out those individuals working with our students with disabilities because they are clearly outpacing the national average. Likewise, students that are economically disadvantaged in our state and have economic hardships, particularly in fourth grade, are outperforming the nation. Again, Louisiana is in blue while the country is in purple. Once you get to eighth grade, you see that we've essentially held consistent, held status, while the rest of the country has fallen. So again, here you can see that we are doing better in terms of growth with economically disadvantaged students than the rest of the country. The final slide just shows our overall ranking on the nation's report card, and you can see the trend moving in the right direction. You can tell that in 2019, for instance, we were rated 49th in the country, whereas in 2024, Louisiana is now the 32nd highest performing state in the nation. And so, we're not certainly excited about the fact that we're 32nd and we want to stay there forever. We want to get better. But I would point out that Louisiana has never ranked as high as 32nd. And so we are pleased, but we are not satisfied completely because we still have more work to do. And so the purpose of today's webinar really is under the appreciation that the parent or guardian is the child's first and foremost teacher, but there is nothing more important to academic success outside of that parent or guardian than a high quality teacher for every child. So our certification team has worked really hard over the last few years to develop and expand pathways to the classroom, both for teachers as well as leaders. And while the superintendent, system leader of every school system in the state, staffing is under their purview, it certainly still is worth having board member knowledge of those options that system level leaders are using to make sure that every classroom is staffed with a teacher. And so I'm really excited that Dr. Geoffrion and his team are doing really good work in this area, knocking down barriers that would prevent intelligent, excited, energetic, competent people from becoming classroom teachers or school leaders. And we just want to share some of that information with you all today. So at this point, I'm going to turn it back over to Dr. Geoffrion.
Thank you so much, Dr. Brumley. We really appreciate you taking time to share the results and the amazing work that has been happening under your leadership in the great state of Louisiana. Today, for those of you who are joining us, we really just want to make information available to you. There are a lot of opportunities that we aim to communicate across the state in various ways. And we thought that having you all join us today would be a great way to share some information regarding pathways to teaching as well as leading, and then also information for new teachers, for mentor teachers, for those who aspire to be principals, and for those who are participating in the HR world. So at this time, I'll turn it over to Miss Rachel Norman, who will introduce herself and get us underway.
Thank you, Dr. Geoffrion. My name is Rachel Norman. I am the Deputy Director of the Certification Office, and I'll spend the next couple of minutes just going over, as Dr. Geoffrion and Dr. Bromley mentioned, the pathways to teaching as well as the pathways to leadership. So over the course of the last several years, of course, legislation and policy have actually both been updated to include additional pathways for educators to enter into the teaching profession to address certain teacher shortages. So on this slide presentation, which I do believe that we will be sharing throughout the course of this call, school systems can use the Pathways to Teaching document that's linked on the slide to assist with staffing hard to staff areas. So what the document includes is each pathway into the profession. That includes the who, which pathway it is recommended for, and then of course the how to proceed with each pathway. So for example, on this slide, we have some of our better known pathways to teaching, which include the undergraduate or traditional preparation pathway. So this pathway is designed for educators or individuals who have not completed a teacher preparation program. So maybe they're just coming out of high school, and they are interested in becoming a teacher. So they would enroll into a baccalaureate degree program, an undergraduate baccalaureate degree program, matriculate through that program by taking all of their education courses, passing the state adopted assessment, which is commonly referred to as praxis, completing that year-long residency, which ultimately results in a bachelor's degree in a teaching area. We also have the post-baccalaureate degree pathway, which is a pathway for individuals that have already earned a non-education bachelor's degree. Maybe it's in accounting or maybe it's in economics. That pathway was not considered teacher preparation, which included student teaching. So that individual would enroll into an alternate program. Sometimes it could be for individuals seeking a second career. And just like with the undergraduate, that individual will complete education coursework, complete the praxis exams, and have that year-long residency. And that could either be for an educator completing either in-state or out-of-state. We're also really excited to talk about the Career and Technical Trade Industrial Education Pathway, or CTTIE, as it's commonly referred to. So this is a pathway for professionals with specific industry-based credentials that are looking to teach courses aligned with their area of expertise. So that can run anywhere from being a welder to being a culinary art to being cosmetology, or even things like construction. So there's a whole host of industry-based skills that are recognized for this pathway. Industry-based credentials, along with that, the work experience, because an individual does have to have so many years of industry-based experience or education, does have to align with the certification area being taught or being sought, and of course the classes being taught. And in some of the instances, students can actually earn an industry-based credential, which allow them to transition straight into that industry-based career as soon as they graduate. We also have the ancillary teaching certificate, which is similar to the CTTIE. And then it's for individuals who provide, maybe they provide specific credentials or hold specific qualifying degrees and are looking to provide support to students in that teaching field. And again, that can range everything from JROTC to drama to being a school counselor or even being a school librarian. So we also have two new pathways, the associate teacher pathway and then the temporary employment permit, which we will go into each one of those in the next slide. So with that, I'll turn it back over to Dr. Jofrion, who will talk about the associate teacher pathway.
The associate teacher pathway, which has been underway for about a year now, allows individuals who have an associate's degree to teach in a field related to the degree that the individual holds. The associate's degree does have to be from an accredited college or university. And while the individual is teaching on this pathway, they shall be continuously enrolled in an undergraduate teacher preparation program. The individual does have to be 25 years of age, and the school system determines if the associate's degree is related to the area that the individual would be teaching in. The associate teacher permits are not issued by us at the Department of Education. It is a license that is maintained by the local employing school system. And it is necessary to track the information so that the individual who would eventually be eligible for a standard certification, they would have to have that information. The holder of the associate's teacher is not eligible to teach in the special education classroom. And one of the key things to know is individuals teaching with the associate's degree shall not exceed 75% of the average teacher salary for that individual school system. It is important that HR and payroll be very involved in this process to ensure that all of these regulations are upheld. And please note that the individual has to pass a background check in order to be hired. And that background check does have to be run by the local school system through the Louisiana State Police. At this time, I'll turn it back over to Ms. Norman, who will continue on some teacher pathways.
Thank you, Dr. Joffrion. So temporary employment permits, they're commonly referred to as TEPs, while they have been around for quite some time, the policy and the legislation regarding TEPs was recently designed and expanded by the legislature to now have 4 different TEP options. So we'll kind of go very high level over what each option looks like. So option 1 is our preparation pathway. This pathway is for individuals that were enrolled in and completed a teacher preparation program, but maybe he or she lacked the praxis in order to be recommended by their teacher prep provider. So that individual, again, enrolled, completed all education coursework, did the year-long residency, but that individual did not pass either one or maybe even multiple praxises required so they could be recommended by their preparation provider. So this is an option for individuals who fall into that bucket where they can be granted that TEP. But the catch is that educator does have to have earned within 10% of the final score or adopted score in order to be granted this TEP. This individual is also required to be working in or teaching in a demonstrated area of need as evidenced by each individual LEA or school system workforce need. So we also have option 2, which is commonly referred to as the graduate degree pathway. So this pathway is for individuals that have not completed a teacher preparation program, but maybe this individual holds a graduate degree from an accredited university that is in the subject area for the area in which employment is being sought. So for example, if an educator has a graduate degree in physics from LSU or any nationally accredited university, this individual can be hired to teach physics in this area, again, pending that it is considered a demonstrated area of need at each individual school system. This pathway does also require an educator to complete a pre-service training prior to being employed on the first day hired as a teacher of record. That pre-service training is conducted through each individual school board, and it can include topics such as classroom management, what the school or district expectation is, or parent and stakeholder engagement. We also have option 3, which is very similar to the graduate degree path, but this is actually specific to an individual with an undergraduate degree. This pathway is for individuals that have not completed a teacher preparation program, but maybe this individual has an undergraduate degree with a GPA of 2.5 from an accredited institution in the subject area for which employment is being sought. Again, that individual can be placed on that TEP pending that that area is a demonstrated area of need in that individual district. Unlike the graduate degree pathway, the undergraduate or bachelor's degree pathway, it does require that educator has to have a passing score on the praxis content exam that aligns with his or her degree and employment area. So an example of this would be if an educator has a bachelor's degree in English, and English is considered a high workforce need for your district. If that individual meets all other requirements, including having a passing score on the praxis adopted exam for Louisiana for English, then this individual can be placed in that role with this TEP. The one caveat with this pathway is there are restrictions to the area or areas that this individual TEP can be held. So a TEP for this pathway will not be issued for any individuals for the elementary grades 1 to 5, for any middle school content area, any special education area, health and PE, or any of our what we would consider our all level areas, such as art, music, theater, or dance. We also have option 4, which is the GPA preparation pathway. So this pathway is for educators that actually were enrolled in and completed a teacher preparation program, but could not be recommended for initial certification due to lacking the state GPA requirement, which is currently in law as the 2.5. Individuals seeking this pathway are required to teach in a demonstrated.
Let them do what they're supposed to do. I think I did call them. They were telling me that
Yes, so they are required to teach in their demonstrated area of need as evidenced by their workforce need, have, of course, the baccalaureate degree from the accredited institution, and complete all components of their teacher preparation program, including that year-long residency. All TEPs are valid for 1 calendar year and can be renewed up to 4 times, provided the applicant is being mentored annually by a certified school-based mentor for each year that they're serving on that TEP. This individual also has to meet the standards of effectiveness pursuant to Bulletin 130, which is the policy that governs all evaluations by each school and school system. And then each school system has to submit the request for renewal annually, signing a verification that good faith efforts to recruit certified personnel were made, which include things like posting the position for which the TEP is issued and attesting to the fact that no regularly certified, competent, or suitable applicant is available for a said position. Any educator serving on the TEP via the program completer pathway, which was option 1, in addition to all of those, for renewal, this individual also is required to retake all praxis or praxis exams within each year that the TEP is issued. And lastly, again, TEPs can be held for a maximum of 5 years while the holder pursues that standard certification via the successful years of teaching or satisfaction on that state exam or that praxis requirement. Upon completion of the 5 years of employment on the TEP, for continued employment in Louisiana school system, the holder must fulfill guidelines for the level 1 or the higher certificate. Next slide, please. And renewal of the certificate. So pursuant to both policy and law, the following remain true for any individual seeking to renew his or her teaching or leader certificate. School systems, again, pursuant to Bulletin 130, are required to evaluate their educators annually. Generally speaking, most certificates do have a 5-year validity. So in order for that individual to renew his or her certificate, that educator, or whether it's a teacher or a leader serving in a school system, is required to have 3 effective evaluations within their 5-year initial or renewal period, which is required to either advance that certificate or renew that certificate. Any educator that has not met the appropriate requisite number of effective evaluations during that initial or renewal period, pursuant to law and policy, will not be able to advance his or her teaching certificate. So what the individual would have to do is appeal to our Teacher Certification Appeals Council, commonly referred to as TSAC, and that council will generally meets about 4 times a year and will take individual cases on a case-by-case basis. And if guaranteed or if granted positively, that individual will actually be given additional time to be evaluated annually and have an opportunity to earn those effective evaluations. Any school system found at fault for an educator having to appeal to TSAC will receive a TSAC letter of notification, which does require an action plan to show what that individual school system is doing to ensure that this will not happen in the future. Of course, any questions regarding the evaluation process or what that looks like can email believeandprepare@la.gov for any questions. And with that, I will turn it back over to Dr. Joe Brown, who will speak on apprenticeship.
So we are happy to announce that the federal government, through the Louisiana Workforce Commission, has approved Louisiana to have registered teacher apprenticeship programs, often referred to as RTAP. We are currently piloting a teacher apprenticeship through the University of Southeastern and the Tangipahoa Parish School System, where they have employed residents as paraprofessionals. These residents are supporting our student teaching, as we used to refer to it, in the school system. They're being paid the salary of a professional and receiving the benefits that the current employees are. And as a condition of participating in the apprenticeship model, the individuals do sign a contract to, at the conclusion of the resident or apprenticeship year, to remain in that school system for a stated amount of time. We wanted to make you aware of this model, as this model, now that we have received the go-ahead from the Louisiana Workforce Commission, is allowable across the state. So any local school system does have the ability to implement this apprenticeship model. All of this work is being done at the department through one of our specialists, Dr. Kevin Nanny. And anyone who is interested in learning more can reach out to Louisiana leaders at la.gov for information. We in the state of Louisiana do want to be at the forefront of this work. So we do encourage you to reach out with questions or to receive further information. And we're happy to exchange email or jump on a quick call with you to let you know all of the advantages of you considering the apprenticeship model for those who will be doing their resident year in your school system. And at this time, I will turn the presentation back over to Ms. Norman.
Thank you, Dr. Joffrion. So similar to the Pathways to Teaching document that we referred to on the last several slides, school systems can also use this linked Pathways to Leadership document to assist staffing hard to fill administrative areas. So on this document, each leadership pathway is discussed in detail, again, providing the who will be eligible, which pathway is recommended for each individual educator, and then, of course, the requirements for each pathway. While each educational pathway is unique in its own way, each of the five pathways listed in the bullets above all lead to an educator holding or being eligible to hold an educational leader certificate. And the Educational Leader Certificate is the certificate that authorizes an individual to serve in any administrative capacity at the school or district level, with the exception of school superintendent. This document also provides an overview of the out-of-state pathways, which allows for an educator to be granted reciprocity as either a principal or assistant principal, superintendent, or assistant superintendent. Lastly, what the pathway shows is it provides an overview of all the administrative areas that preceded the educational leader structure. So the educational leader certificate does act like an umbrella in that any administrative area, again, at the school or district level, an educator holding that educational leader certificate allows that individual to work in. And that began implementation on January 1st of 2009. Prior to that implementation, any individual that wanted to serve in a specific administrative role did have to meet a certain specific set of requirements to add an area. For example, if you wanted to be a school principal, you would have to add on certification for a school principal. If you wanted to be a director of special education, you would have to meet specific requirements to be certified in that area. So although that is not still in policy to have been met, if an individual met all of those course and degree and experience requirements prior to 12/31 of 08, but for whatever reason never added it to his or her certificate, they can still do so. Next slide. So this is the newest pathway for educational leadership, one that we are most excited about, and it's the alternate pathway 4. It is referred to as the principal boot camp. So this is an alternative certification pathway that is eligible to an individual or individuals that currently hold, whether it's an MBA, an MPA, or have a law, a Juris Doctor degree, or they may have been honorably discharged as a commissioned officer from the United States military branch. This pathway allows an individual to capitalize on the knowledge and skills gained through leadership pathways that were outside of education in order to both support, lead, and help grow Louisiana schools. This pathway was designed to require participants to attend 5 days of focused work on the expectations and requirements of leaders within the Louisiana schools so that they can in turn be lead learners and, of course, academic leaders on individual campuses. Participants will actually spend 3 days at the Claiborne building where the Department of Education is housed in Baton Rouge to academically focus on tasks led by various departments within the LDOE. So it's a collaborative effort between our office. We have team members from the academic content team, diverse learners team, of course, certification and preparation, and a host of other departments. While they're here participating in the boot camp, in the 3 days, participants are also supported with the presence of an active school or system leader who also serve as a mentor and a resource to those participants. At the conclusion of the 3 days here through the department, participants will make arrangements to visit their mentor schools to help further develop and grow their specific reinforcement and refinement goals. The content and the practice approach has already been proven successful as multiple participants have already been certified as leaders and are currently entering the job market for this year, for the 25-26 school year. Beyond the mentors, participants who do complete this program are provided with an opportunity to engage in, with, and deepen their knowledge of the LLR, which is the Louisiana Leader Rubric, the LER, the Louisiana Educator Rubric, and Bulletin 741, which is the policies for administration. They also learn about the professional learning roadmap and are exposed to a plethora of resources within the department that focus on retaining these leaders beyond their initial employment. So if you have questions or you have employees within your school system that may be eligible and fall into this bucket, and you believe pretty strongly that they will be good candidates for this program, we would ask that you email louisianaleaders@la.gov with their name and contact information. And as soon as we have the next boot camp date available and it's approved with the dates in the application, we will actually send a direct invitation to those named nominees. And additionally, within your school system, if you have current active principals that you believe would be interested or a valuable resource for participants, whether it's to mentor or to provide that knowledge, you can also email their names as well, and they will be invited to apply. In terms of cost, there is none. It's free for participants. And while mentor principals are paid for the participation and support, the costs are not the responsibility of you in the employing school or school systems. The department will make the funds available through EGMS as a stipend for approved mentors. Again, you may contact Louisiana Leaders at LA.gov if you have any questions about this program. And with that, I will turn over to my colleague, Mr. Brett Colin, who will discuss Novice Principal Academy.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Brett. I serve as the Director of Educator Development, and I am excited to share some of the work that my team supports. Like Rachel said, we support the alt certification or the alt 4 pathway for new principals, in addition to the Novice Principal Academy. And the Novice Principal Academy is a new program by the department designed to support novice principals within their first years of appointment. While all novice principals within the state are eligible and encouraged to apply, priority enrollment is provided for the alt pathway for boot camp participants. This program is an extension of the need those principals will have within their first year as a principal. Selected participants will be guided and supported throughout the first year as principal. Meetings are limited to only 4 in-person days spread out from July through June. NPA New Novice Principal Academy participants are assigned mentors who will meet with and check in with participants throughout the year-long program. Additionally, participants are guided through the process of long-range planning designed to enhance the implementation of their vision and the school and systems expectations. Knowing that the season for hiring and naming new principals is rapidly approaching, the department has opened the application for Novice Principal Academy. It can be completed by either the principal or the school or system representative. Finally, the cost for participation is $1,000, preferably paid for by the employing school system. This will allow the department to provide the necessary resources to participants and provide a stipend through EGMS for approved mentors. You may contact Louisiana leaders at la.gov with any questions that you may have about this program. Additionally, you may contact kevin.nanny@louisiana.gov specifically if you have any questions. And now I'd like to pass it over to my colleague, Paula Bell.
Thank you, Brett. Good afternoon. I'm Paula Bell, Director of Educator Background Credentialing. Thank you for giving us audience as we provide what we hope is valuable information today. January 1st, 2025 brought with it a new law to better protect Louisiana students in schools. Louisiana Revised Statute 17.8.9 was put into place and requires a criminal background check is completed for the purposes of certification, bringing us in alignment with what many other states around the country are doing and building the public's trust in our education system. A criminal background check completed for professional licensure is consistent with many other professional licenses, such as those in law, medicine, and finance. Applying the same standard elevates the profession and reinforces the importance of ethical and legal responsibility in education. You can review all of the benefits of a CBC for certification on the document linked here on this slide. In the past, school systems alone were required to do a criminal background check for employment purposes under a different law, Louisiana Revised Statute 1715. And for many years, we were provided copies of those CBCs, which we attempted to use for certification. But due to a finding during an FBI audit of the Louisiana State Police, we were informed that the practice of using those CBCs that were run for employment, they could no longer be used for certification, that practice must cease. That's when legislation was put into place that directs and permits the Department of Education Certification and Background Credentialing Team to send individuals seeking issuance, renewal, or modification of a certificate for a criminal background check. Essentially, we're putting the criminal background check before the certification, which is a practice that has been in place for years in other states. By having educators undergo a CBC for the purposes of certification, it ensures that the department will receive wrapbacks if an educator has any subsequent activity appearing on their CBC. Because of the wrapbacks, once an educator is fingerprinted for certification, typically it's only a one-time requirement. Has been fingerprinted for certification under the department's service code, the CBC is typically transmitted to us within hours of fingerprinting. Transmission times will slightly vary based on a few factors, such as if the applicant is from another country, or perhaps the applicant has multiple aliases or a lengthy history. Background credentialing specialists retrieve those, we review those CBCs, and if we find no disqualifying convictions, then we issue or add to the existing certification record what's called a clear credential. This clear credential indicator does not expire because, of course, we'll receive those wrapbacks. And keep in mind that it is not a certificate since it does not validate educational eligibility to teach, lead, or serve in Louisiana schools. but it does serve as an indicator that the individual has obtained the golden standard in CBCs for certification. Individuals do not have to wait to apply for certification issuance, renewal, or modification in order to obtain their clear credential. Any individual may use the educator fingerprinting packet. It's linked here on this slide and posted on teachlouisiana.net. You could use that packet to schedule fingerprinting, and typically within a day or two of printing, the clear credential will appear on the certification record. Many of our staff on the ETWD team, we've gone through this process, and we now hold those clear credentials, and those designations are viewable on our licenses on teachlouisiana.net. Clear credentials, also along with any other certification sanctions such as denials or suspensions, revocations, reinstatements, can be viewed online the same way that you would verify a teaching certificate. Additional questions regarding CBCs for certification, the fingerprinting processes, disqualifying convictions, or any other certification sanctions may be directed to me, Paula Bell, that's paula.bell@la.gov, or to my team by emailing educatorclearance@la.gov. I'll turn it back over to Mr. Britt Cullen to talk about Grow Your Own.
Thank you, Paula. I have the pleasure of sharing information regarding the pre-educator pathway in the next several slides. The pre-educator pathway is a pre-education program for both TOPS University and TOPS Tech diploma, seeking high school students who intend to pursue a career in the field of education. The ultimate mission of this pathway is to cultivate highly skilled educators by guiding young people on a path to becoming accomplished teachers, beginning in high school and extending through college and into the profession. In this pathway, academic instruction and field experiences are paired to prepare students to pass the required Louisiana teacher certification exams. For example, the Praxis Core Reading, Writing, and Math, and ultimately master the general teacher competencies required for teacher certification in Louisiana. Slide, please. We are excited to announce that we will be releasing an open-sourced pre-educator pathway curriculum for the 25-26 academic school year at our Teacher Leader Summit this summer. We hope this will help expand the pre-educator pathway to even more high school students across Louisiana. The curriculum will be located on the Louisiana Department of Education's professional learning platform, Canopy. It consists of 2 courses, Foundations of Education and Learning Communities. Should you need any more information, you may email believeandprepare@louisiana.gov, or our program lead, Ms. Brandy Moran, at brandy.moran@la.gov. At this time, I'm going to pass it over to my colleague, Rebecca Stevenson.
Good afternoon. I'm Rebecca Stevenson, the Director of Educator Preparation and Accountability. So first, I want to show the positive trends that we've had in our educator workforce. So as you can see, from 2022 to 2023, we saw our total teacher workforce increase by over 1,700 teachers. The percentage of our teachers of color increased by 2%. Average teacher salary increased over $2,000. The retention rate of our teachers with 2 to 10 years experience increased by 4 percentage points. And in 23-24, the pre-educator pathway, which Britt was just speaking about, showed a 2% increase compared to 22-23 in the number of students taking education courses in high school. We will have the updated 2023-2024 workforce report very soon, as it is going to April Bessie. So these are signs of the efforts that our school systems, our preparation providers are what we're doing is paying off, and along with the comprehensive recruitment and retention strategy, we can attribute some of that growth to professional learning supports. As Rachel talked about earlier, adding additional pathways to certification, the recruitment and retention fellowship for our HR directors, a focus on new teacher support, such as the new teacher experience, and a career ladder development when you think about our mentor teachers, content leaders, aspiring leaders, and adding stipends. We can also attribute this growth to the work that's being done in our districts through the Para to Teacher model, as well as the Grow Your Own models, where systems have begun their own teacher preparation programs. And as you can see on this slide, you can see this is our program approval process cycle. So in order to operate in the state of Louisiana, universities, private providers, and school systems must apply to offer teacher preparation. These applications go through a review process through LDOE and then are brought to BESI for approval. This is a really great opportunity for school systems to grow their own and offer their own preparation programs. There is a guidance document linked here on the slide that has more information on the process and the timeline. If you are interested in starting a Grow Your Own model, we are having a session at Teacher Leader Summit on this focus. Thank you.
We're excited to share some information with you today regarding the new teacher experience. New teachers are assimilated into schools and establish routines and teaching practices that they will use for many years, but doing so requires time. It typically takes 3 to 5 years for them to develop the expertise needed to maximize their students' classroom achievement. Unfortunately, many teachers describe these critical years as overwhelming and stressful. Instead of developing their expertise, many leave the profession. To help these early career teachers, the department has developed the new teacher experience. This is a comprehensive induction program that provides both direct supports to teachers and systems supports to improve student achievement by improving beginning teacher effectiveness. It offers multiple services designed to increase teacher effectiveness, enhance teachers' skills, and reduce attrition among beginning teachers. Through this program, Louisiana teachers are provided with a series of supports to help ensure their retention in the profession and their development and growth as effective educators. The new teacher experience includes working with a trained, carefully selected mentor throughout the year and studying pedagogical skills and content knowledge through professional learning modules. The professional learning modules cover topics that are critical for new teacher success. These modules include online asynchronous content, followed by an in-person learning lab where participants practice and apply these concepts. Additionally, teachers are given monthly opportunities to collaborate with other new teachers statewide. These collaborative clusters are designed to connect teachers by their grade bands and subject areas. These supports help new teachers build confidence in their ability to instruct students and manage classrooms. This program will assist school systems to either develop a new teacher induction program or strengthen an existing induction program. This program also celebrates and recognizes the work of our early career educators. The new Teacher of the Year has been added to our current awards program to recognize the contribution of Louisiana's first-year teachers. The new teacher experience summer kickoff will be held in Baton Rouge at the Lod Cook Alumni Center on July 24th, 2025. This is a wonderful day for new teachers statewide. Our goals are to give these educators a grand welcome to the profession and provide them with a full day of professional learning on topics relevant to new teachers. We encourage systems to build this day into their back to school week. Registration will open in June and enrollment will be capped at 400 participants. School systems should share details about this event with their new teachers and ensure that they're able to attend prior to registering. This event is provided at no cost to the systems. However, any travel costs may be covered by the school system. Registration includes lunch and a tote bag with lots of start of the year goodies. And finally, the new teacher experience mentor expansion pilot. New teacher success relies heavily on working with a skilled mentor. To ensure that systems have a pool of qualified mentors, we are launching the New Teacher Experience Mentor Expansion Pilot. We are currently working with a work group of educators statewide to provide information on challenges and strengths in current mentoring programs and to give feedback on proposed guidance for systems. The end result of this work will be refined guidance and support for mentors and new teachers statewide. This guidance will be provided at the NTE Mentor Expansion Pilot. Applications for this pilot will open in June. The goals for the pilot will be to increase systems mentor pool by identifying educators who qualify for the mentor add-on credential. Pilot participants will receive priority and funding for those credentials. The pilot systems would also attend monthly support calls where we will discuss, reflect, and refine the implementation of a more detailed supports outlined in our NTE guidance document. These monthly calls will also provide an opportunity to collaborate with systems statewide to share successes and build community. We also want to make sure that the work of our new teacher experience professional learning labs is communicated with our mentors. Leadership development. My team also supports the two different fellowships that we'll cover in the next two slides. The Aspiring Principals Fellowship, and we're excited to announce that the Aspiring Principals Fellowship for the 25-26 school year is now open. This year-long program has been successfully preparing aspiring school leaders to become principals within Louisiana school system for 4 years. It will equip up to 50 individuals with the essential knowledge and skills to step into a principal role. Participants will engage in school visits through learning from exemplary practicing principals, and will participate in professional learning aligned with current state initiatives. Applications must be submitted by April 7th. Fellowship applicants will be notified of acceptance by May 9th. Additional information about the Aspiring Principal Fellowship can be found in the APF overview document linked in this slide. Recruitment and Retention Fellowship. The department believes that investing in strengthening human resource leadership ensures high-quality educators for students. This year-long fellowship provides opportunity for HR professionals to share innovative solutions, collaborate, and network to build an effective workforce. The Recruitment and Retention Fellowship is designed to assist human resource leaders in developing best practices for attracting, supporting, and retaining effective educators. Applications for the 6th cohort of the Recruitment and Retention Fellowship are open until June 27th. Should you have any questions, you may contact Louisiana leaders at la.gov, or the program lead for that would be glenda.newman@la.gov. At this time, I'm going to pass it back to Rachel Norman.
Thank you, Britt. So for mentor guidance, mentor teachers are required for any individual serving as a resident, a practitioner, or in that TEP, that temporary employment permit that we had gone over earlier in the slide. And of course, the associate teacher that Dr. Joe Breon had alluded to earlier. The mentoring should include intensive support, which includes but is not limited to co-teaching, collaborative planning, observation and feedback sessions. And in some of scenarios, mentoring does have to be at least 15% or approximately 5 hours per week of the instructional time of spent at the school. And for some mentors, they are eligible to receive a stipend for providing that mentorship. Like always, you can email certification@la.gov and we can answer any questions that you have regarding this process. And then lastly, the pathways to mentor teaching. So several years ago, we increased the cadre of mentor teachers in the school systems, and we expanded the pathways to becoming a mentor teacher. The options now include everything from completing a BESI approved mentor teacher training program. And in addition to that, of course, passing the Louisiana Mentor Assessment Series. If an individual holds an MBC or a national board certification, in addition to passing not all portions of the mentor assessment, but just the coaching related components of this assessment series, that pathway will allow that individual to become mentor teacher certified. Any individual that holds a leadership certificate or educational leader eligibility, which those were the pathways that we described earlier for the pathways to leadership. Any individual that holds that can be certified as a mentor teacher. If an individual holds a current NIET or National Institute for Excellence in Training Teacher Evaluator training certificate, that current NIET certificate will authorize an individual to serve as a mentor teacher. And then the newest pathway, which is holding the Louisiana or completing the Louisiana Educator Evaluator certificate, that also allows an individual to serve as a or be certified as a mentor teacher. And then lastly, hold class observer credential. That is the last pathway that an individual can obtain mentor certification. So as you can see, we have about 6 different pathways. And in doing so, again, we have increased the number of mentor teachers that we are both certifying, and that allows an individual to serve in that capacity. So I believe that was it. We do have some time and many experts on this call for Q&A. If anybody wants to either drop a question or comment in the chat or come off of a mute, we can certainly spend the next few minutes answering any questions. So if we don't have any questions, please feel free to use the resource, the slide deck that, again, I believe was shared amongst this group. Please feel free to use this. There are a ton of collaborative links, just a ton of helpful information. Again, we did try to include the contact information for all of the offices that oversee each streamline of work. Please feel free to drop us an email and we will get back with you as quickly as possible. And I'll turn it back over to Dr. Jofrion for any closing thoughts.
Just a sentiment of gratitude. Thank you all so much for joining us today. We are definitely here to serve the educators across the state and look forward to connecting with stakeholders more and more. Thanks again and have a great rest of your day.